Two, one. Hey guys, it's Erica with the Childcare Directors Chair podcast. I have my girl Rashaun Webb in the house today. I am so excited. You can tell by my voice. We are going to talk about coaching and mentoring to build strong teams and childcare
Mhm.
programs. You are not going to want to miss this episode. Oh, someone's phone's ringing. My girl's always busy. Always busy. She is a trainer of trainers. She is all over the country doing keynotes, doing breakout sessions, opening things I'm not going to talk about right now because I'll let her talk about that when she's ready. But she's got some amazing things going on. But for you who are listening, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about if you're looking for ways, new ways, particularly to strengthen your childcare team and boost overall performance, then Rashaun is your girl. We're going to talk a little bit about valuable lessons that you need to know about how to coach and mentor your team and how to build a strong team because let's face it, you cannot do it alone. Also, we want to make sure that you empower others on your team. And that's a lot of what mentoring is. You really want to make sure that you're setting everyone up for long term success you, your business, and your staff. So let's welcome my girl, Rashaun, to the show. Welcome, Rashaun. So, for the folks who don't know about you, tell them a real quick synopsis about who we have on the other end of this mic.
Well, I am the placeholder for you. I am an experienced early childhood educator who has her boots on the ground in every form, shape, way possible, and I love what I do. That's it.
That's
That's
it.
the short
Okay.
version.
That's the short version. Okay. Okay. There's a lot more to that, but that'll work for today's show. Um, Rashawn's been on my show before for all my listeners who listen to us on a daily basis. We love you. And she's back and she's gonna keep coming back. So we're gonna keep
Yay.
having Rashawn back on over and over and over again. And if you don't know, Rashawn also has her own podcast called
Mhm.
the Tell 'em.
Early childhood coach with a childcare experience.
Yeah. So some of you probably have heard of that podcast. It's been around quite a while. Rashawn has been podcasting long before I even had a mic. So anyway, well, we love each other, as you can tell. So we'll
Yes.
stop girl gushing and let's get to it. So, Rashawn, as a child care director, why is it so important to invest in coaching and mentoring your team?
Well, let's start from the beginning. When a person decides to become a director, they're first, let's be honest, they're overwhelmed with their responsibilities of what to do. And as you go through and you start learning the characteristics of your team, there might be some areas that are hard for you to manage or hard for you to connect to. And that's okay. And that's where you in essence say, okay, I need outside support, right? You are the support for the teachers, but then you need support as well. And that's where I come in. That's where Erica comes in. And we sit with you, and we're not here to cast judgment, place blame, or anything. We are holding space for you, and that is my new term. Shout out to Wicked and Ariana Grande. Because I'm holding place and holding space for you. I'm present with you, listening to where your pain points are. Being in this business almost 30 years, I've seen this industry change more times than I can count. And I say that all the time because it's very true. So, having a coach come in and actually support you on, I don't know how to reach this person. I don't know how to talk to this person. I don't know how to get them to come out of their shell. That's what we do. As a trainer, I have the awesome opportunity to sit and talk with directors and owners and even get them out of the shell where they don't like dancing and singing. That's what my trainings are. My trainings are a dance party. If you like dancing and singing and learning, my I promise you you're going to have a great time because I don't ever want it to be a boring moment with me because this industry is so fun. There's so much to do. And as new directors, you have to understand how to reach your staff, especially if you have generational gaps between your staff. So it's all a matter of how much are you willing to come out of your comfort zone to help your team.
I think too, sometimes when people they're afraid to reach out to coach because they need to have this feeling of like, well, I'm supposed to know everything. Well, you're not supposed to know everything. Not
Mhm.
everybody knows everything, and me and Rashawn don't know everything. We can give you the
Right.
best of what we got, and the
Hmm.
best of the best. I mean, Tom Brady. I'm not a sports person, but I think we can all agree. The numbers say Tom Brady is the GOAT when it comes to football. He has a
Right.
coach, right? And so right, I mean, the best of the best have coaches. So
Yeah.
it isn't a lack of, it's almost the opposite of recognizing where you are and saying, I am such an extraordinary leader. I am very confident in myself. I'm confident in the areas I'm good at, and I'm confident enough to know this is where I need extra support. And you keep growing, you keep pushing, you set the
Hmm.
standard for yourself, right? That's, and when you set the standard for yourself, that resonates through your building. Yeah. So what's the difference, Rashawn, between coaching and mentoring, and how do they complement each other in a childcare setting?
Well, coaching and mentoring to an extent can be one of the same, because of the longevity of the session or how long you're with this person. Um, I know when I'm coaching someone, it might be for that moment. It might be for a contracted period of time. Mentoring, I'm right there with you the whole way. We're taking those actionable, creating actionable steps and actionable items. We're talking about those pain points. Coaching to me, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
might be different, but with coaching, it might be like a group setting, or it might be a for the 3-year old teachers, for the 4-year old teachers. But with when I'm mentoring someone, I get to work with them one on one. I get to actually sit and unwrap and put on my counseling therapy hat and get to the bottom of why they're doing what they're doing, as well as helping them be a better person, an even greater person, and an even greater teacher. So I take my mentoring extremely seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I have people that are just like, well, you're my mentor. And I'm like, well, okay. And
Yeah.
they're calling and asking questions and for on other things, on a number of things. But then I have those that are like, I want you to be my coach. Okay, well, we're going to be here for this length of time. This is the price, and whatever you need within this price point, it's 100% yours. So it just all depends on what you want,
Yeah.
because they could be simultaneously, or they could be something completely separate.
And I think when directors reach out to find a coach or a mentor, I think it's really important that they know what questions to ask too, because
Hmm.
there's a lot of folks in the industry that are coaches, but they don't all deliver it the same or
Right.
even articulate it the same definition.
Hmm.
So even you and I, who are very similar,
Hmm.
differentiate a little bit in the way that we look
Hmm.
at it. So I
Hmm.
think we're probably very similar when it comes to mentoring. It's kind of like what I've learned, what I know through my own experiences that I can
Absolutely.
share with you. But when I do coaching with folks, I'm really, really dialed in on helping them solve their own problems, if that
Yep.
makes sense, and really
Yes.
focused on them. Like,
Yes.
instead of me solving
Absolutely.
their problems. So I think when it's mentorship, it's like, well, here's what I think you should do. But when I
Hmm.
coach, it's more like, well, what do you think you should do?
Yeah. And
You
so for
know?
me, I end up doing both.
Yeah.
I end up giving, because I have stories for days, and
I
I end
bet.
up doing stories. So, but I do with my mentoring, with both. I mean, for me, I guess for me it's the same. I don't ever differentiate like most people would, because I'm always asking them like, "Hey, what do you think? What would you do?" Like, I want them to be present in the
Mm-hmm.
session,
Mm-hmm.
asking questions, and I want to be able to ask them questions and get an answer. I said, because when I leave,
Yes.
you should be able to follow through on everything we talked about.
That
You
right
should
there.
be able to, and all of my sessions have always been immediate actionable items. I don't give you anything that you got to wait 6 months or 2 weeks or a
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like you can do these things right now. And I attributed that to the fact that we are blessed enough to own a program as well as be a coach and a trainer. So you and I both get to step in, work our magic, step out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our content comes from what we do with our own staff
Yeah.
and what we see, from other people. Because we can't do these things with our staff and then teach you something different because that makes
Mm-hmm.
us a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our lab is our
Mm-hmm.
staff and our program. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm very big on you should be able to do these things in my when I'm not here. You should be able to do these things when I am here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
think very similarly, when I am coaching folks, and I want the listeners, I want you guys to think, because this isn't really about me and Rashaun. It's really
Mhm.
about when you're coaching your team, are you helping them build the skills so that they can start to problem solve for themselves? Can they start to, because no one knows you better than you know yourself. So you know
That's
what the
right.
things are that you want to happen. You know your capabilities. So really having somebody just guide you and help you find that within yourself, so that way
Yeah.
you can do that on your own and make these decisions and ask yourself, what do I really want? What do I think I should be doing here?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
where am I really lacking and where do I really need help?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll go a step further
yeah.
to, you know me, I step on toes.
Step away.
So my first question would be, as a leader, are you teachable?
Hmm.
Because sometimes you're going to be called to the carpet and you're going to get offended.
Hmm.
And it's not like it's intentional, like, like who do they think they are coming to my program telling me? And then I was like, no, it's not that. But you have people we're industry leaders because we were in the classroom. I started as a floater at the age of 16, going to high school, working in a childcare center after school, getting out early, going to work. And I've been doing that. I'll tell my age. I'm getting ready to turn 43 in March. So I've done the groundwork. I've done and as the children progress, as their behavior increases, as the staff, their work ethic changes and progress and digress in certain capacities. As an owner, I have to keep up with that. Not to change my policy, but to keep my pulse on when my staff start changing. And if I am not paying attention, I'm going to have a whole coup going on and I have no idea when my staff, start acting out or acting up or don't show up. So as a leader, you've got to make sure that you're teachable for someone to come in and say this whole operation is out of order. And you should be able to just take it and be like, that's why we called you, because I don't know what I'm doing or I don't have the support. The second thing I will say in conjunction to what Erica said was you have to realize I messed up. I've had to tell my staff I'm sorry a few times where I was off doing other things because people needed me. My staff went through things, and not that I neglected them, but because other people needed my help. Well, I didn't realize what was going on, or I didn't think it was that bad. And so there
Yeah,
are times when you're going to have to say, I'm sorry for making poor decisions that's going to affect how someone feels about work. A coach comes in and helps bridge those together. I've done coaching sessions where I had everybody crying, not because I said something rude, but because they realized that their system within their culture of their program was
sure.
toxic and broken.
Yeah,
And, that's when the coach comes in, not the mentor. The coach comes in and heals and it's like, okay, let's figure out how do we get everything back on an even plane. Let's get back to the foundation of why we're here. Let's get back to the foundation of why you chose to work here. So, you as a leader, there's if you're struggling right now, to make it work with your team, they're not getting along. They don't they're not getting you. They're not, for lack of a better word, obeying you, or they don't respect your authority. You need to find out what's wrong. Number one, you need to call me because those are the people I love to deal with. And number two, we need to figure out what have you done? What if you did anything that has caused that rift between your staff? Because your workers represent you, and if you don't have any workers, you don't have a team, you don't have a program. A lot of owners forget that part.
yeah. Um, can you explain? We had talked a little bit about skills. Can you explain how coaching helps improve individual skills while mentoring focuses more on long term professional growth?
Oh, girl. Break that down.
All
Uh,
right. Do the first one. Can you explain how coaching helps improve those individual skills? We talked about it,
okay.
but let's go
Okay.
a little bit
Yeah.
deeper. How?
Okay.
How does it?
So, as a leader, I hire individuals, and there's something about them that resonated with me in their interview. And so I'm like, cool, okay, my team needs that character. My team needs that essence that can make us greater, makes us better. And I bring them on board. Okay, now I notice there's a flaw. So what can we do to massage that flaw for that flaw to blossom into a flower? You're going to have people that their work ethic are different, but yet they have some other qualities that are great. I need to massage that. And some people won't, they don't have the time to do it. And I'm like, well, if you want a team that's going to buy into you,
Mm.
you're going to have to massage those skills that are there because you remember you hired them. Your staff love, the teachers love the kids love this person, the parents love this person. So obviously there's some qualities there that are
Mm-hmm.
great, but then there are some qualities that you're like, I don't know. So then, just like we do with our CDA students, we sit with them and go over what are your goals, what are your, what these are the things I've noticed, and you can do that after every 10 days, every 15, every 20 days, have that check in, glows and grows. These are some things I see you're doing great at. These are some things that are some things that I want to support you on. You're not downgrading them saying, "Oh, you're horrible." But you're just these are some things I want to support you on. Have you noticed these things? You can tell somebody they're wrong, but for them to admit, "Yeah, I know. I have an issue with being on time," or, well, these are pertinent, points of the job. This is something that we can't negotiate with. So it's just sitting down, pulling out of them, like, how can we support you? I see you're good at that. Give a compliment here and there. Hey, let them know I appreciate you. You make this team good, but there's just some areas that we really need to, and sit with them and figure out, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is going to be our developmental plan. If we give a kids a plan, we can do the same for the staff. And it's not a put down. It's we value you, but I want to help you grow to the best of your ability. Because let's be honest, 15 years ago we didn't have this. 20 years ago we didn't have any of this. 30 years ago, none of this. It was the owner, the director, and teachers, and an assistant director. That is it. None of this extra support. So have those conversations to help your staff feel like they're a part of the team and they have a buy-in to your program. Someone believes in me. Someone wants to help me. I don't know how. Their background, their storyline of life didn't afford them to someone to even care. Sit with them, talk with them, and I do that with mine. Not because I have to, but because I want to.
Yeah. I love focusing on because we can get, when I say we, directors and owners and admins, we can
Yeah.
really get focused on all the things that person, like, that the couple things that they're not doing right. I almost
Mm-hmm.
try to flip it and really focus on all the things that they're doing well and building
Mm-hmm.
on those skills that way. So, because if not, it can also feel defeating on this side of the desk. Like, oh, I've talked to them about being late 12 times, right? So maybe it's all right. They're great at all these things. Maybe it's a shift change. Maybe they're not able to come in at
Right.
7:30, so now your shift is 9:30, right? Yeah, so sometimes it's like if you do have all the other boxes, what can I do to help you? Because there are some things that we cannot change about ourselves.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So is it a can't or a won't, or so we have to
Mm-hmm.
determine that. But I really love to try to find people don't even know what to do with that. When you bring them in the office and you just say, here's all the 10 great things I found this week. Thank you. Bye. They're
Yeah.
so not used to that. It's used to when they come in the office, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to the principal's office.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that to build your team, I feel like keep finding those strengths and keep building on them because they want to make you happy. They want to make you proud. And it's easy to get into a funk because let's face it,
Absolutely.
it's a hard, stressful job being in a classroom too, right?
Absolutely. And for me, I let my teachers know, and we're small on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm small by choice. I'm
Mm-hmm.
small because that's my preference.
Mm-hmm.
I have the freedom to be active, involved in my kids all day, every day. If I were to
Mm-hmm.
open this door right now, I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you in under 5 minutes, one of them is going to be walking in here. I guarantee you. And not because they're like, no, being nosy. They know Mama Sean's here and she
Yeah.
opens the door for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the environment I've created for my staff and for my kids and their families. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to look at, and this is an interesting question. This is an interesting topic because I just did a session Saturday, and to know the lack of support that's going on in these schools is heartbreaking because I believe in support. Eric and I both believe in being supportive, not so much of each other as friends, but other owners like you. We've been in it so long. We've done the work. As it changes, we change with it, but we keep some of the foundation because the foundation doesn't change.
Yeah.
So I'm here for my girls, and they're not. I don't consider them staff like workers. I don't look at them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look down to that. We're all family. I just happen to have a title that has a big responsibility. And but they know I get in the classroom with them. I will change diapers. They don't want me to because they know you have other things to do. You go away. We got this. So and I'm like,
They
thank you
shoo me
because
away too.
yeah, and I'm like, thank you because I've got payroll or I've got other things to do. So and it hadn't always been that way.
Yeah.
Let me back up. It hadn't
Yeah.
always been like this, right? And a lot of hand holding and coddling, and I created monsters, so to speak, and so I had to pay for that. Because I wanted my center, I would do it, or I would this, or I would think that they would do what they're supposed to do. Oh, we have stories that are not healthy, but when we finally removed the toxic people, you have to also know that you might have to remove some people that are dear to you. Oh my God. I
I've had
had
to
one
do
that I had
that.
to remove because the kid got hurt in her care. But she had a history of not being a very productive worker. And so I had to let her go. And when I let her go, the whole emotional tie was cut. Just like you cut a sheet of paper, gone, just nothing there. So there are times when you're going to have to admit, did I coddle someone? And now I have handicapped their work efforts and their productivity. Did I ignore some things because they're my favorite or because they're close? So we have to look at that. When we talk about supporting, we have to support everybody equally. And don't think, oh, well, they're not going, you don't know what they're going to do until you offer them space, till you offer them an opportunity. And I offer my girls like, hey, you want to be our content creator? Cool. I'll give you a raise. As long as you're doing that, this is what your pay will be. Hey, you want to do I want them to feel a part of the team because when I sit with them and give them bad news, they know, okay, I did something wrong to deserve these bad news. I need to do better. Hmm.
What ways can a childcare director create a mentorship culture that extends beyond just themselves?
You and your question. I love that for us. Okay, so creating a mentorship culture.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. For me, when I create a mentorship culture, I'm creating a space that my staff know I'm coming in observing, I'm coming in watching and looking to make sure you're doing what I pay you to do. I'm coming in to ask for clarity, ask for honesty, ask for your feedback and transparency on what you're doing. And we're observing each other because you might have to pick up the slack of somebody else. And you need to be able to have that honest conversation with someone. So we create that environment where we're helping one another to be the best that we can be. And that we didn't have that at first because it was like, well, who does she think she is? Or she's
Hmm.
not my boss, you're my boss and all that. And I'm like, okay, you don't want the help. So you go ahead and dismiss yourself, which they did. But an activity that I did, this might help you guys. An activity that I did. First of all, I start every year off with what I call the State of the Union. The State of the Union is every expectation I have for the year. Everything that I can think of that we need to talk about, address, whatever. New year, we're going forward. Then, as part of our connector, when we have our staff meetings, is I want you to tell your partner something good that they're doing and something that you feel they need to do better on. The objective is for them to listen, be present, and not talk or throw out their opinion while that person is telling them something. And that allowed each and everyone, and that I included myself as well, and everyone had great things to say. And then there were times when it's like, I need you to do this, I need you to be more of this, I need you to do better that. And it's not a, well, this is what she said and how dare she. This is an environment where we're encouraging one another and we're helping everybody see their flaws, and that allows them to see, okay, yeah, I've kind of slacked in that area, let me do better. So when it's time to do our evaluation or a check-in or our reviews, I'm checking in on, hey, how's it going? What have you been seeing? What have you been noticing about yourself? And that creates a safe space for them to say, I've been doing good, I've been doing bad. Well, what are we going to do better? Just like we do with the kids. So what are we going to do to do better? And that's kind of how I start that. That's how I create that,
Yeah.
should I say.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's so important for those of you who are listening today, trying to figure out like how do I create this mentorship culture,
Mhm.
because you need it to be the culture of your program. It
Mhm.
doesn't help if somebody comes in and you're mentoring one person, but there's 15 people that work there. They can really all support each other, and getting that feedback, like Rashaun says, really does help you see those blind spots. And listening is a skill that not a lot of folks have, right? Everybody wants to talk. If everybody talked, who would listen? And that's my mother-in-law, by the way, who says that. Um, but you know, 'cause her son is very quiet, and I talk a lot, and we joke around and say, "How did we ever end up married?" And she said, "My dear, if everybody talked, who would listen?" And that was like, oh wow, that was deep.
It's
Um,
very deep.
but it's true. So I think sometimes as leaders we do a lot of the talking. We're very used to doing the talking, and so it's important, as you said, to also check yourself and make sure you're doing the listening and putting yourself in that
Yeah.
circle of getting some feedback.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. Who else in the program? Well, this is probably kind of the same thing, but who else in the program besides the director can step into coaching and mentoring roles? And how do you even identify potential mentors and coaches? Right? You and I
Well,
were on the road a lot,
yeah.
right? But we need to make sure that our teams are still thriving and healthy. If we're out for two
Hmm.
weeks at a time, how do we
Hmm.
make sure that we're setting them up?
Well, so if your center is big and bad and beautiful enough, and you notice that there's somebody who wants to grow within the company, and they have really shown a lot of tenacity and they have that amazing buy-in and they love helping, you can create a position for them. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
clear, in this profession or this industry, it doesn't have to be just the director, owner,
Mm-hmm.
assistant director, and teacher and cook. There can be other positions that you yourself as the owner can create because it's your company. So if
Mm-hmm.
you see that person who's just like, she's such a helping hand, or he's helping, he loves just being there and just being in the moment, and suggestions and offering all these different extra support for the teachers, that could be your coach, that could be your mentor, because their job is to support in the way that you need, not the way that I see. This is
Yeah.
what you're saying is an issue for you. Now if it comes time for, this is what I've observed, then we present our observations and our anecdotal notes. Other than that, hey, this is my pain point. How can you help me? Okay, let me step in and figure out how to make this work. A lot of the corporate centers do have curriculum coordinators. They do have curriculum coaches and onboard, all these different extra titles out there that are, and so you could have that, especially if you're a franchise, you can have that for that area or that group, and that's okay. That takes your hands out of it because you're you are training that person to be your eyes and ears with your staff. Their job is strictly staff, not all the extra components of the business. They are strictly coaching and supporting staff. Hmm.
You know, the nice thing about that, and I'm not a franchise, but the nice thing about that is if you have someone really dialed into a particular position, they can do it really, really, really well. Like if my only job was just to onboard staff,
Yep.
whoo, girl, I would that staff would be the most onboarded staff you ever met
Yes.
in your life. So, it's when you have that economy of scale that you're able to do that and say this is your lane only, and you're really able
Uh-huh.
to do it at a high level, but
Yes.
also in mass quantity, right? Because
Hmm.
let's face it, those types of centers typically have
Hmm.
thousands of employees.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
I couldn't even imagine doing it without
Girl.
having somebody just
Exactly.
right in that lane.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, what are some of the common challenges you think that directors face when implementing a coaching program? Maybe like there are people like, yeah, this sounds great. And then they go back and then their team's like, wah, wah, we don't want it. What, right? Because people don't like change.
They don't
And
like
as soon as
change.
you start
Yep.
saying we're doing change, or especially change that holds people accountable, especially the ones who have gotten away with not being
Hmm.
held accountable, they're they're
Hmm.
they're very quick to say, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. As soon as there's some accountability, very detailed, like this is what you're gonna do, here's how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get some kickback. So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So when you introduce anything new and amazing, you always want to, you always want to kind of give an introduction to why you feel it's needed. It's just like with a child. You don't want to be like, okay, kids, we're going outside, right? You give them the warning, then you start the countdown, then you start the transition, and then da, 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 da. All adults are just grown kids. Okay, it's not hard, right? If you're an amazing teacher of kids, upgrade it, and you got adults. Okay, my master's is in adult education, and so one of the things when I teach a class, you set the environment, you do same thing with adults, but with kids. So I'm bringing, like, for example, we're getting ready to switch the trajectory on how we view teachers, and we're gonna start calling them play ambassadors.
Mm.
And so I'm going to bring that component in probably in March. And so I'm going to sit with them and say, well, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. This is why I believe this goes with our program. We're a play base. So for those that are interested in doing that and adding in a coaching aspect, you let your staff know, I feel this will benefit us. I feel we can create this environment that's going to benefit everybody here. Some of you might disagree with it because you've been here the longest, or you have experience, or you've got longevity and you don't feel you need. Well, unfortunately, I disagree. And you're not throwing your power around or your weight around. You're just saying, because this industry is changing, I want to make sure that we're all contributing and we're all being the best version of ourselves. So we're creating a coaching environment here at ABC Learning Center where you get to tap into the best version of yourself as an educator. And that means you're going to have support. You're going to have your coach come in and guide you and help you. We're going to have a whole curriculum, all these other cool little things, and ChatGPT can do that for you. And you're just going to add that into what you want to do and what you want for your program, because it is your program. Nobody will love it more, nobody will understand it more or appreciate it like you. And my staff know this is my baby. You mess this up, I'm gonna mess you up. My staff know that, so they know. Let me, or let me, But they're like, no, we love coming here, and I'm like, cool, let's keep that up. So when introducing that coaching staff, give them reasons why. And if they don't like it, hey, at the end of the day, you can pull rank. This is your company. This is what I think is best, because we need to make sure we're aligned with the core values. We're aligned with the vision statement. We're aligned with the mission statement. We all want to be on the same page to be the best quality early learning program in our area. And the only way we can do that is if we sit and we figure out what everybody needs, how everybody wants to grow, your pain points, how do we support the pain points so you can grow? And if they're wanting to grow, they're going to tap in. They're not going to yeah, they're going to get some flack because people just like to complain. But again, this is your program. They're gonna do that. Okay, kids do that too. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And once they get going, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. Right. So again,
Yeah.
adults are just big kids. So letting them know that it's now. And then I'm gonna go on a limb and say, whoever is the coach, they are not a dictator. I've had staff not like some of the coaches that I've brought in, and then I've had staff say, well, we don't like having somebody coach us. Well, this is extra support for you and for me because I can't give you everything I need, so I bring an outsider in.
Mm-hmm.
So again, look at it from a standpoint of, hey, this is going to be an extra helping hand that you need to be the best teacher you can be.
And I think that's why I love you so much because you're so real. Like, I love that you even just said that. Like, there are times that I have to bring someone else in to
Mm-hmm.
support my team because I might not be the best person for that job. And
Mm-hmm.
so what that shows your team though is that everybody can be mentored. Like no matter where you are in that poll, we all sometimes need mentorship. We all need coaching. And so you lead that by example. You don't just say the words like you're like, okay, we're gonna need some help with this, you know? And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I love that. And I believe the same. I believe the same. I don't think I have every single thing. I know I'm really good at people. Here's a perfect example. I'm really great at people. I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably not the best at automation.
Oh,
I'm not. I'm not.
yeah.
I'm not. I know I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? I'm because I'm so people focused. Like I'm not one who like, all right, there's 20 new customers. I'm not sending a blast email. I'm gonna probably call all 20 of them, or I'm gonna meet them at the door. I'm gonna.
Right.
But I know a lot of people will just automate that. The one email. Thanks for joining our program. Blah 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 blah. Signed by a
Yeah.
bot below. Like I'm not that person.
Yeah.
Is that the most best use of my time? Some people might say no. I say yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I believe
But
people is the most important part of my program, but everybody
yeah,
has their own philosophy.
and that's because you're making that moment personable.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
Do I want to be automated and computerized, or do I want that personal touch? In case in point, I just got a phone with a parent who she was like, I enrolled my daughter here because I thought you were going to be here every day. And she wasn't complaining. I thought you were going
Hmm.
to be here every day. And blah, blah. I said, I am here. You just don't see me when you
Hmm.
come in and when you pick up. But and she's like, well, I love the other girls, but it was you. I said, you're just spoiled. I spoiled you is what I did. She's like, no, you. I said, yes, I did. I
Did you
spoiled you.
did you do her tour?
Hmm.
Girl, if you do their tours, I know that marriage, they fall in love. You're right, you're right, you're right. Man, if
Hmm.
you do the whoever does the tour with that family, that's who
That's
they
the
buy. That's what
connection.
they're buying into.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
if it isn't you and it's your director, because I have a director, Angela, she does such a great job with tours. They love her. Sometimes they're like, "Where's
Ooh,
Angela?" I'm like, I can help you too.
right.
They're looking for my director,
And I
which is
do
a
all
great
the
thing. Which is
yes,
a
and I
great
do
thing.
all
Yeah.
of the onboarding for that reason because
Yeah.
my director can do it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's nothing like the owner doing it. I might not
Yeah.
ever see him again. I might not ever talk to him again. But that
Right.
one connection, and this
Yes.
parent came and she was like, I'm enrolling sight unseen.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a whole nother thing. If you if you can do it sight unseen, you're
Mm-hmm.
good. But that's why you
Mm-hmm.
have social media and your Facebook page and all that. But and so I do for that very reason because I know that if I can do that tour, I find that I can do that phone interview and connect. I find a way to connect with that family. And I found a way to connect with her. Not that it was fake and fraudulent, but because I had an experience. And
Yeah.
so she was like, Miss Rashaun, I've been through so much and I just want someone where my daughter's gonna be safe. I said, girl, say less. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And she fell in love with us and fell in love with the center. And the little girl started a day ago yesterday. And she's like, I love it there. This is exactly what she needed. So you know, I teach my director the same thing. Like, you're representing me when I'm not here. The parents on board because of what I promised them, and what you
Mm-hmm.
guys can deliver is exactly what I promised. So there should be no reason why you can't because that connection was made through me, and they've been like, "Yep, we're here because of her." I said, "See, I don't have to. They will tell you, and stuff." So again, when it comes to coaching, that's a part of it too. Like you want your staff to be the very best. You want them to be the very best of who they are, not like some other preschool down the street. No. You want to pull out of them that unique,
Mm-hmm.
amazing thing that just sets them apart. You hired
Yeah.
them. So let me find out more about why I hired you. How
Mm.
can I use that to benefit my team and make you educator of the year? How do I do that? And
Mm-hmm.
then when tours come, cool, I want you to shine. You know how to talk, you know how to make people fall in love with you where they'll say yes to you, and they'll freezing cold outside and they're going to say yes to an ice cream. That's
Yeah.
because there's something about you that is fascinating and they're just like, this place is it. So coaching your staff is a benefit because you're pulling those things out of you that you can't do. You can't be everywhere. You can't do everything. Put
Yeah.
people in place, set people up for success to help you be the very best.
Yeah. We know the something. The something is the people. They're
Yes,
connected. This is a trust business for sure. This is
absolutely.
a trust
Trust and a
business.
people business.
Yes, ma'am. It is. It
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
So, is there anything that you want to share that I didn't ask you? Well, for the sake of time, Rashaun, because I can go get a cup of tea. We can be here all day. For
I
the
can go
sake
heat
of the
my coffee back
listeners,
up.
for the
I can
sake
go.
of the, for the sake of the listeners,
Oh, it's
is there
about y'all.
anything?
Okay.
Yeah, is
Uh,
there anything in terms of? We're so glad you guys are here with us still.
Y'all are like I said on my podcast the other night. I said this is what he and I do. Y'all are just eavesdropping in our
Yeah.
conversation.
So true. But
um,
you offered so much insight on, your perspective of being a coach, your perspective on using coaching,
yeah.
maybe a little bit on how people can get started or, challenges they might face. So anything you think we left out?
Don't be afraid to don't be afraid to hire one.
Okay.
Like we've given you all these amazing nuggets. Um, don't be afraid to hire one, and don't be afraid to invest in the person you're hiring,
Yeah.
right? Because they are going to, if they're doing it right. Like if you hire, I'm just gonna put it out there. If you hire Erica and I, we will guarantee you we're going to do it right. It doesn't matter. I'm in Texas, she's in New England. It don't matter. We're going to do you right because we are where you are and then some.
Yeah.
We have done it 10 times, 20 times over. So hire, be that, go ahead and go ahead because I know someone is thinking about it. Go ahead and do it. Go
Yeah.
ahead and do it and watch your program change because we're not the kind of owners and trainers and coaches that are not currently doing it because we are. A lot of people, you'll hire someone and they will not have a center, they will not have a program, they have no idea how to run a classroom, but they will act like they know what they're doing. And those are the people that bother me. So get someone that knows what they're doing. Go ahead and invest. It's okay. You're not going to lose out. What you will lose is staff and customers if you don't. But
Yeah.
go ahead and take that opportunity to invest in your program and hire a coach that's not going to nickel and dime you, but
Yeah.
that are going to do right by you.
Yeah. That's great advice. So for the folks that are listening, if you want to learn a little bit more about Rashaun or learn with Rashaun, we are having her come down to the Early Childhood Empowerment Conference this May on the 2nd and 3rd of May in Warwick, Rhode Island. I'll put the link below. I'm hoping she can stay both days, but she got some other special things brewing. Rashaun will be back on the show multiple times this year, telling us all about her new exciting adventures. But we do hope that you'll reach out, even if you're not quite ready there, not quite there yet. Text the show, send me an email, send her an email. Let's
Yeah.
start the conversation. But we're here to support you. We know the industry is changing. We know sometimes it's a little scary. Again, I don't know everything, but I will give you 100% the best of what I got, and Rashawn will as well. So, as always, guys, remember it's the small details that make a big impact on the success of your childcare business. That's all for now, and as always, have a great day. Girl, we could talk